Hello and welcome back to another video review, this time for Transformers: Dark of the Moon. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more reviews like this, and please leave a comment below letting me know if you enjoyed the film. The first character I will talk about is Sam, played by Shia LaBeouf. There's honestly not much to say about his character in this movie. He feels more tame than he did in the second movie, and feels a lot like himself from the first Transformers movie. I'm quite surprised because he did feel like he had more of a part in this movie than the last, but at the same time they actually directly reference the fact that he's just a messenger, which means that they're kind of admitting that he's just a plot tool. I mentioned that he did do something in this movie, and that's actually taking part in killing Starscream, which I completely forgot happened in this movie. The second character I'll talk about is a new character, named Mailroom, played by Leody Mazzo. She basically is just a replacement for Michaela from the last two movies. Her relationship with Sam doesn't really work for me in this movie. It seems like she is again obviously just in this movie just to be the sex appeal yet again, and the relationship isn't really shown that much. And we don't really grow attached to her character because it's the one and only time we will ever see her, and she didn't really do much in this movie besides persuade Megatron to kill Sentinel, which is quite disappointing. I feel like the Autobots had more screen time in this movie than the others, and I really enjoyed that we got real emotion out of these characters that I feel like we haven't seen before. So it was quite nice to finally see more of that in this movie. I'm also quite disappointed that Ironhide had to die, because he seemed like a pretty cool character, and we didn't really get much of him in the other two movies. We are also introduced to more Autobots, but we're not really shown what they can do, and what's so special about them. Now, the Decepticons in this movie seem to be a lot more prominent than expected. I say this because it seems that they had a master plan, and they even had a Decepticon pretend to be an Autobot, just to learn everything that they were going to do so they can enact their mission. The scary part about that is the fact that they were very close to winning, and it just added so much tension to the movie, especially when we all thought that the Autobots were dead, and it actually added some real stakes to this movie. This movie had more good stuff in it than I would say the last movie, but that's only towards the end of the movie, which is about the last hour, I would say. It's quite convenient because this is when the action starts, and I gotta say yet again that action just slaps. I would say it's better than the last two movies combined, just because they had so much destruction, as well as some slow motion shots, which really added to the excitement. This may be a shocker to you, but I'm glad that they killed some of the major characters in this movie. I say this because in the last two movies, all of the main characters would still be alive towards the end, which would take away all the stakes. Whereas in this movie, you now question, okay, where's the story going to go now that all of our major characters are dead, except the Autobots? We obviously know what's going to happen next, but I'm just saying this from the perspective of the film just being released. It really is too bad that they had to kill Ironhide, Starscream, as well as Megatron, because Starscream was actually my favorite character, where the other two weren't as much of a character that I liked, but it was still disappointing to not see more of them in the future. I also like the fact that this movie didn't feel as long as the others, even though this was actually the longest out of the three. To me, this movie felt a lot more coherent than the other two, and the action worked very well because most of the movie was action filled, because the first hour was when they really tried to set up the story. Then after that, it just went up higher, because the story just felt so good in this movie. My favorite character in this movie was Shockwave, because wow, his abilities are really cool. He has like this giant robotic snake type thing that digs through the ground as well as buildings, and it just causes so much destruction, and I just love how they were able to do this. The budget must have been insane for this movie, because to have that amount of destruction must have taken a long time to generate. There are definitely some faults to this movie, and a lot of them are the same faults from the last movies. I already mentioned this before, but I hate the fact that mailroom in this movie is yet just another sex symbol, and it annoys me because I'm pretty sure that behind the scenes, allegedly Megan Fox didn't like being the sex symbol, so they just got rid of her because she wasn't willing to be the sex symbol. So they just replaced her with another good-looking woman, and that just irritates me. I know that she persuaded Megatron to turn on Sentinel, but that was the only significant thing she actually did. Towards the end of the movie, they jumped around quite a lot, and it was especially noticeable when the Autobots were captured by the Decepticons. Right before they were captured, they killed Starscream, and then literally in the next scene, they were captured by the Decepticons. My problem with this is the fact that we were never shown them getting captured, so we have no idea how they got in that position. And it actually confused me for a second there, because I thought I missed something. But no, I think they must have taken a scene out of there or something. The government is really dumb yet again in this movie. So in this movie, it came out that Sentinel was actually a Decepticon. So he destroyed an entire military base, and then he sent out a warning to the US military, saying that if you don't get rid of the Autobots, then we will destroy your world. This meant that the humans supposedly had no choice but to get rid of the Autobots. But this doesn't make sense, because the Decepticons are literally called the Decepticons, meaning that they are good at deception, meaning that they should never be trusted. You think that the US government would be a lot more smart with something like this, because they should have known that the Decepticons were up to something. So they had to make sure that nothing bad was going to happen. But no, they just let Starscream destroy their ship as they were leaving. I know the Autobots survived that, but how are the humans supposed to know that? So basically the US government let the whole world get destroyed because of their stupid arrogance. I know it's just a movie, but that really irritates me. So with all of that said, what would I rate Transformers Dark of the Moon? Well, as usual, the action was really well done, and the CGI was top tier, and luckily for this film, the story was much better and did not feel as long. Unfortunately, though, we have a new character that doesn't really add much to the story, and we have some confusing story elements, as well as dumb decisions made by certain characters, and because of this, I would rate this movie a 7 out of 10. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments section below whether you like Transformers Dark of the Moon or not. And please leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more reviews like this. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a nice day.